welcome back to Pitch Points. My name is Anthony Roberts, and I am your host today for episode 3. We have an incredible guest today, Yuri of the Unbox Universe team, and today we will be learning about one of the best kept hidden secrets in the Cardano ecosystem. Enjoy. Welcome to Pitch Points.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect. As we've just said, it's a very direct format. You'll have 2 to 3 minutes to do a presentation on Unbox the Universe, and then we'll have about 10 to 12 minutes of question and answering afterwards. Okay.
All right. It's perfect.
Perfect. If you're ready, take it away.
All right. Thank you very much. So let's go. First of all, Unbox is building a core infrastructure for the 21st century economies. And we do that by leveraging the Cardano blockchain and ecosystem. So we provide developers with tools, all the tools they need to create smart tokens. Those connect and combine physical and digital worlds. Our smart tokens enable individuals to embed their own values and identities into assets, transactions, ensuring secure and programmable interactions. The goal is to lower the barrier to entry for developers to build on a more robust and decentralized blockchain in the world. Right? So helping the ecosystem address real-world needs and use cases much faster. To do that, we have built the Unbox Infinity protocol, which increases the expressiveness of the Bluetooth native language, programming language of Cardano, and that unlocks smart contract functionality through simple configuration, if you will. On top of the Unbox protocol, the Infinity protocol, we have the Unbox platform, which offers a comprehensive set of tools, including APIs, SDKs, the usual for easy integration in your website and apps, as well as Unbox Studio, which helps you create and manage those smart tokens. So we also have a white label mobile application called XYZ that's totally dynamic and configurable, and that helps you increase user engagement and interaction and get Web3 applications out of the gates in no time. So for the past couple of years, Unbox has focused mostly on developing the infrastructure while also solving real-world problems with Web3 technology. And some of our biggest successes have been Gary, Indiana, for example, where we have done a contingency management application, banking the unbanked with smart tokens to help them to opioid recovery. We also have done waste management in Gaza, with waste management and identity application with the United Nations. And finally, we've collected more than 2 million pieces of litter by crowdsourcing this initiative, and it was throughout Belgium in its entirety. So there we go. And the time has come now for us to open up this all beauty thing to the community by open sourcing our Infinity protocol, which we have announced last week at Rare Evo, and by providing free access to community edition of Studio and XYZ so that each and everyone can start making an impact today. If you want to know more, then you go to unboxuniverse.com.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank
you
very much.
3 minutes.
Yes, yeah, a little bit over, but you did very, very well. Very, very well. I was actually having a look at a lot of the stuff that you guys had done, and it's very impressive. I was very curious of how you were going to condense that to 2 or 3 minutes. So if I can ask my first question in the most plain and simple language that you can think of, how does Unbox as a project benefit the Cardano ecosystem and community?
Well, we are actually building on top of the Cardano ecosystem. So we are deploying native assets on chain. So there are 2 things. The first of all, we've built the first programmable token protocol for Cardano. So that's already a first. And so everything we do is on mainnet or hopefully on Hydra shortly.
Okay, and the things that you're developing in Cardano, are they open source so that others in the community can also have a look at the things that you've done and do it for themselves?
Yeah, so I think you have to see Unbox as wearing two hats, if you will. So the first one was us developing the protocol, which is now ready and which we are open sourcing, because I think it is a missing piece of infrastructure for the Cardano ecosystem. And so I think if we want to make it composable, if we want people to build on top of that and use it, I think open sourcing was the right decision to go for. And on the other side, we also have, like, it's good and well to have, your contracts there and open sourced. That's good for auditing, but that doesn't make it necessarily easier for people to use it. And I think by creating the community edition, which is an instance of our protocol that we host ourselves and we make available to the community, that they can use and explore and use for free, and build smart tokens and try to, understand how that works.
Okay.
So we abstract a bunch of the complexity there.
Okay. Okay. You at the moment, of course, you're applying for Catalyst funding, if I understand correctly.
We applied for Fund 11 and we closed that down now. So we committed our code to the open source repos and we submitted our final milestones. So that's wrapped up. We are thinking about participating in Fund 13, but that's to be unveiled soon.
Okay, and what did you use funding for in the last round of funding that you received?
In Fund 11, we kind of created two base pieces of our architecture, which was an indexer and a transaction builder. As like you can imagine, with smart tokens, you have like a little bit more complexity in there. So we needed something that worked, that accommodated our use cases a little bit better. So we built those two, and they're available online.
Okay. And what started Unbox? Where did the idea came from, and what was the problem that you were looking to solve? What was the
I think the main problem that we were trying to solve, and also how we kind of started, was funding distribution. In most fund distributions, you have leakage and slippage, and it's not always in bad faith. But the reality is that government funds or other kind of funds are always distributed in ways that are very little efficient. Mostly, just taking the example that we had, for example, for COVID stimulus, which we did for the city of Antwerp. So generally, what you do is like you distribute funding, and then you hire a very expensive auditing bureau to like make a report after that, which generally says that you've done quite well, but in reality, it's a lot of auditing costs. It's a lot of misallocation of funds. You lose a lot. It's not very efficient. And so we're trying to reverse that by creating something that's pre-audited and post-funded. So the city of Antwerp now created a coin that they had specific targets for. So they wanted to support local businesses, only mom and pop stores, no multinationals, maximum amount of employees, like a whole set of criteria that they wanted to incentivize during that complicated period economically. And so instead of just like giving grants to those businesses, they gave entrepreneur coins to citizens, so they could go into their businesses and activate the economy in that way. And what we saw there is that not only was that used a lot, but as the COVID evolved, we also got like different use cases there. For example, they wanted to avoid people going to stores at the times where it was the most affluence there, or most people were there. So your Ucoin was worth more in periods where there was less people. And by going to the end of the COVID pandemic, they also said, like, instead of paying 100% of your purchase with Ucoins, you pay only half or only 30% going forward. And so they distribute it in a very efficient way to the local economy, also adding to that like a multiplier effect, if you will.
Okay. Who are the main target for this technology? Who are the ones that are going to be able to use it and actually benefit from this?
Well, I think there's a bunch of use cases that we see now, and the ones that will contact us and emerge, we'll see where we go with them. But from our perspective, we know that community currencies are a big one. So those have picked up because you are able to, design your own rules and how you want your community currency to work and what you want to do there. So we have a couple of cases ourselves, but again, Unbox is not really in the game of being the specialist of everything, and we just want to provide our infrastructure there. So we're waiting for also people to like build on that and show us where it's really interesting and what can be done with it. But apart from, like, let's say the fungible cases, you also have like asset tracking, digital twins, if you will, of physical assets, which all of a sudden, if you tie them together, your physical asset, which is like done by essence, if you will, becomes smart, and you can like direct where it goes, when it goes there, how it can, what the rules are around it. And as far as identities is concerned, you can start doing things like soulbound tokens, where you distribute true digital identities to people without necessarily making sure that they cannot take that identity elsewhere. And so the soulbound aspect is very interesting to come to cases where you can identify people online with authentic identities without using identity, like the identity that we know currently. And so I think that those are pretty cool cases that might come up, and so we'll see where that goes.
In the projects that you've already done, how did you get discovered with, and how did you manage to form that bridge between, for example, the companies that you've worked with and the cities that you've worked with, being a crypto project and being immersed in the Cardano ecosystem? Where did those connections come from, and how do you perceive continuing to build the interest in the project?
Well, I think the main thing here, and I might not make friends with that, is that the main thing here is that we're not a crypto project, and we only outed ourselves to the community. I think it was last year during the summit. So before
Okay.
we had been building on Cardano technology, we have been working with Cardano technology on a private cluster internally. So without the community knowing about it. So the main thing is that customers on our platform don't even know they are using ADA underneath, right? So it's just it's just abstracted away. The companies want decentralization principles. They want no GDPR headaches. They want and that crypto projects bring that. You have a wallet where you can onboard people with just they download your application and they start. And they say, like, how is that possible? No username, password, no email, no, like that. That's just it, and no crazy 24 password phrases. And like you abstract most of the complexity of the Web3 into something that is a very that goes in an experience that is very normal for everyday people, so that they just use the system, use the applications, enjoy whatever benefits they have from it without actually knowing they were running on blockchain. And I think that's one of the secrets for bringing crypto. It's not about bringing the world to crypto. I think it's about bringing crypto to the world. And I think
Yes, that's beautiful, and I love the fact that you also have that insight to let it be the infrastructure and to create the use cases where the infrastructure is doing what it's supposed to without you needing to know how it works.
exactly.
I mean, it's a very exciting initiative. Out of curiosity, where do you see this project growing over the next, let's say, 5 years? I know that's an eternity in the crypto space, but what is the vision for the project as it goes forward and as you potentially look to get further funding from Catalyst?
I would say that it's like what Brainy's saying to Pinky, like try and take over the world. Like that's the only that's the only thing that works. I don't know, like there's, I don't think like we provide programmable tokens. I think the evolution has shown us that going from the more crypto assets, which like we could call dumb tokens because you can only own them and spend them, right? So that's like what it does. Then we went through the transition of doing smart contracts. But the problem with smart contracts is they become intelligent, but they're no more tokens, right? So they like you lose the aspect of owning the thing, and that's what comes back to Cardano, right? So you have the ETX, so you have the pure ownership of stuff, and I think what was missing there was the programmability in an accessible way for most of the use cases. We have programmability. Bluetooth is great. Icon is doing an awesome job, but it's still you still like it's not easy, and I think a lot of the use cases are just about putting conditions in how you exchange tokens, storing them for a while, holding them back. Like that's what most of the flows and need, and that can be just configured with smart tokens and like some point and click, and you can focus. Like a developer can focus on building the application, building the web app, or and integrating token gating without asking themselves too much. Like, but how does that really work on chain? Like, just click, you take your rules and you go with it. So that's kind of
Okay. And you mentioned that there's a consumer facing product that's being released quite soon, or is that already released?
Well, it's Unbox Studio, so it's a combination, right? So the protocol is the on-chain part of the thing. The studio is kind of your manager, if you will. It is still in heavy development because we used the versions we used internally for our own projects. We're not the ones that that we're ready for bringing to the community and have everyone work on that. So we created a streamlined version of that, or we are creating a streamlined version, which we should make available broadly. At the Cardano Summit. And then we have XYZ, which is the configurable native app, which is already in store and that we use for our own internal projects, which is also going to be part of the deal and that people will be able to use, like just for free. That's our commitment to the community.
Fantastic. It's my last question, and then we'll give you an opportunity to make any last points. How is this project sustainable over the long term? So I understand that you've received some funding from the Catalyst proposal to get to this point. Is there a particular revenue model that you have in place, or another way to make sure that this is sustainable as you continue to grow and contribute?
Well, I think there as well, one of the important distinctions is that Unbox is not a crypto company. And so we are backed by HSBC, which is one of our major investors. We are backed by the Belgian Sovereign Wealth Fund, so it's the government. So we have pretty stable and serious backbone backing for bringing Web3 technology to the world. So we are not dependent really on numbers go up or whatever. So that's that's a very, I think that's a very strong position, and it's also a very interesting position to really bring those use cases and bring this fantastic technology that Cardano is and this wonderful ecosystem to really bring that to into the spotlight, which it deserves.
Ah, beautiful. I'm really excited to actually see when your product is available for consumer use. I love this kind of stuff. And I'm really grateful for what you guys have developed so far and the partnerships that you've been able to leverage. It's really inspiring. How can the community support you? How can the community get involved with the project and play their part in helping you to grow?
I think it's just be curious and follow us wherever we are. Make sure you connect on our Twitter account. Go check out our website. And as soon as we launch stuff that you can explore with, try to see what you can do with it. Try to explore and tell us about your experience. Tell us about what the technology does for you, what you're missing, what is good, what is bad, and we'll try to make this into the absolute best experience ever.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Yuri. Is there any last words that you would like before we wrap up the interview?
No, nothing specifically. I thank you very much. It was a very interesting talk. And I hope we get a lot of interest. That would be nice.
Absolutely, Yuri. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you for the work that you guys are doing. And everyone, please check out Unbox. Check the Twitter. Check the website. It's an incredible bit of technology. And these are guys that have been working for the Cardano community and building partnerships, even though they haven't had such a public face. I think projects like this are the future of Cardano, and it's essentially what we stand for and stand about in the first place. So thank you so much, and until next time. Thank you, Yuri.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.